All right, hello again, everyone. Now that we have completed the notes for tax credits versus tax deductions, we can now play around with some practice problems to see the actual implications and applications for knowing the difference and knowing how to use them. On the front and back, or rather, whatever side you're looking at here, front and back, there are 10 questions. I'm going to go through some of the problems with you guys right now together so that we can at least try to help get started and get you off to a good start to complete the rest of the problems. So keeping in mind the difference between tax credits and tax deductions is that deductions lower your taxable income while tax credits lower the tax due. And so to start, for number one, if we owe $1,000 in income tax, but we also have $400 in refundable tax credits, how much in income tax do you actually owe? As a reminder, tax credits take down the tax. And so if you owe $1,000, you would simply subtract the $400 in credit to find how much money you actually owe. In this case, it would be $600. And it's as simple as that. That's the direct application of tax credits, decreasing the amount of tax you owe from the initial income tax. For number two, though, it says suppose you owe $1,000 in income tax and you also have $1,200 of non-refundable tax credits. How much income tax do you actually owe, or are you owed a refund? If so, how much? So obviously a couple key numbers, $1,000 in income tax again, and $1,200 of non-refundable tax credit. If you'll recall from the notes, and you can even take a second to look back here, non-refundable means that the amount of credits I have can take me down to zero, but not past that. And so if we were to apply the same logic as the previous problem, we would see, we owe negative $200, which means we would get a $200 refund. Unfortunately, because our non-refundable tax credits exceed the tax due, that just means the income tax owed is just $0 because I cannot go past zero. I am not eligible for a refund with non-refundable tax credits. So this number can be as high as it wants. It could be 2 million, but it can only bring me down to zero. I'm not eligible for a refund with non-refundable tax credits. That's why they're called that. Now, getting to an example where that is applicable, if we have the same $1,000 and $1,075 of refundable tax credit, then I would simply subtract my $1,000 minus my $1,075 to find that I owed negative $75. I owe negative $75. That kind of seems like the IRS, the government, owes me money. How much money? $75 in terms of a refund. Okay? So that simply demonstrates the difference between a non-refundable and a refundable tax credit. Well, I'm not going to do all the problems. I will do the next one with you as well. It says if Harold had an income of $70,100 and his tax rate was 16%, how much does he owe in federal income taxes? So this actually has nothing to do with credit or deductions, but rather just calculating the amount of taxes due based on the tax rate. Okay. So what this means is at this income, Harold is charged 16%, meaning of everything he makes, the $70,100, he's going to be charged 16% of that towards taxes. And so to simply find the amount of taxes he owes, you would multiply 70,100 times 16%. That's the same as 0.16. And you would find, using your handy dandy calculator, that we would get $11,216. That's how much tax he is owed, or he owes to the federal government. I'm going to skip number 5. I'll let you do that one on your own. But for number 6, though, it says, using the same information from problem 4, which is the one we just did, this 11,216. If Harold listed $14,500 in itemized tax deductions, how much would he owe now? So we're going to assume he makes the same amount of money. He still makes $70,100. That's his income. But if you'll remember, deductions decrease the amount of taxable income that you have. And so, if he lists $14,500 in deductions, we're not going to take that number away from the amount that he owes. That would be a tax credit. But rather, we're going to take this amount in deductions away from the income. And so we would subtract the $14,500. And once again, with your handy dandy calculator or in your brain, you would find that the amount of taxable income he now has is $55,600. Excuse me, 55,600. That's the amount of taxable income. So it did not decrease directly the amount of taxes he paid, but rather his taxable income, which now we can multiply the 55,600 by the same tax rate, 16%. 16%. And once again, using our handy dandy calculator, we would find that he now owes only $8,896 in tax. As a reminder, once again, tax credits directly decrease the amount of taxes owed. We saw that in the very first example. Just simply subtract. But here, for tax deductions, we would subtract the amount of deductions from the initial income to get a new taxable income, which we can then calculate. And so it did end up saving us money, or Harold money, excuse me. Saved Harold money, saved him over $2,000. But it doesn't work the same way as a tax credit. I'll let you answer number 7 and number 5 on the front. On the back, I'm going to let you answer those as well. They are slightly more complicated. But if you need any help, feel free to work together, ask each other questions. I will give you a couple of hints, though. For number 9, it talks about Boris. It says, suppose Boris has an income of $30,000 and a tax rate of 11.5%. The standard deduction is $13,850. However, he had $6,050 in itemized tax deduction. Expressed as a percentage, how much less does Boris pay in taxes by taking the standard deduction as opposed to listing his itemized deduction? Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to split this in half. And you're going to tell me how much is he going to owe in taxes using the standard deduction versus the itemized deduction. A standard deduction, you'd be using the $30,000 and the $13,850. For the itemized deduction, though, you'd be using the $30,000 and the $6,050 in deductions. Sorry, I turned the page a little bit there as I was writing. Regardless, you're using the 11.5% for both of them. Okay, so those are the two ways it's split up. If you're not sure how to start, think back to what we did for number 6. Once you find the amount owed in taxes, So we get a number for both of these, the amount owed in taxes for both of these. What you would do then, this is for number 9 still, what you would do then is find those two amounts, divide them, multiply by 100, and you'll get the amount that he pays less. So you'll take then, after you do that, I do believe it is the standard deduction. Yes, I'm sorry. The standard deduction, sorry, I was blanking for a moment. Standard deduction divided by the itemized tax due times 100, and that will get you your final answer as a percentage. So let me just explain that one more time because I did a very poor job at doing so. You find the amount of taxes owed by taking the standard deduction. Find the amount of taxes owed by taking the itemized deduction. Then you would divide your standard divided by your itemized taxes owed. So you divide your final answer for this by your answer for this. And then you multiply by 100 to get the percentage difference between the two. That's number 9. Number 8, I think you can figure that one out. Number 10 basically is the combination of everything we've talked about today. It asks you to compare, suppose you have an income of $90,000, which of the following scenarios would save you the most money? So, is taking the standard deduction at a tax rate of 17% the best? Is taking a $2,000 in tax credit and with a tax rate of 18% the best? And, or would $15,800 in itemized tax deduction and tax rate of 19% save you the most money? Okay. Some of these answers, some of these 3 will be close. Other 1 or 2 may or may not be. Okay. But your job is to say which one saves you the most money, meaning find how much you would owe in taxes if you applied the following deductions or credit. So tell me how much you would owe in scenario A, B, and C. And then your final answer, you can either circle A, B, or C up here, or you can just tell me the dollar amount and the percentage. So complete this paper, front and back. All you need to do is 5, 7, 8, and 10 now that I've completed the others. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and absolutely work with the partner. If you need to look anything up online, feel free to do so. Ultimately, it's best that you're knowledgeable of the content that you write on your paper, but if you need to use any resources, you may do so. We will go over these answers when I get back next time. Have a great day.